Well, what a week it's been. After what has been a actually genuinely trying week for Labour, after the giving up the sort of the green pledge money. Well, not giving up money to invest in green industries and stuff like that. I still think they're going to do that. Um, I think we don't know potentially how much that money is going to be at the end of the day, but also the fact that everything that's gone in Rochdale recently, it's been quite an up and down week, shall we say, more downs. However, to finish the week off with two by-election wins, and not just small by-election wins, we're talking overturning majorities. The first one was 18,000 majority, and that was in Wellingsborough. So that is a big general election, well, a big general election prediction and a big victory for Labour. And also in Kingswood as well, because Kingswood itself has a very, very interesting prediction now, to which, shall we say, Jacob Rees-Mogg, sitting very pretty in a somewhat very Tory safe seat, maybe not so much to be very much soon. We'll get on into that in a bit. But before we go on to talking more about these by-election victories and, of course, what this eventually means and potentially what we're going to see probably going into the weekend and probably next week as well for Rishi Sunak, because, oh boy, the Tories are not going to be happy about these victories. I can tell you that now. So, as always, before we do go into this, please remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button down below. Links to the Patreon page, the one-off station link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course the Pony Club down below as well. So thank you very much to everyone who does help and support the channel. So big victories, very, very big victories, and no one will deny that this has been a somewhat, bad week for Labour. Even I won't deny it's been it's been, shall we say, more downs than we said than ups. But what a week to finish on! What a week to finish on! Because Wellingborough in particular is the key one. Because remember, Kingswood at the next election doesn't exist because of the boundary changes. And like I say, we'll get into that and what that means for Jacob Rees-Mogg in a bit. But Wellingborough in particular is really interesting when you look at the results. Not only did they get more votes than previous elections, but they've got more votes there than the last time there was a Labour MP there. That was 14 years ago. So this has now, I think, really signaled that not only is Keir Starmer right saying this morning that, people want a change, but people are now very happy to see Keir Starmer and the Labour Party as the alternative to this current government, which, when you want to win a general election, kind of important, kind of very, very much so important, because this was one thing, and again, oh no, criticizing Corbyn, but this was one thing Jeremy Corbyn never, ever managed to cement in people's minds, that he and his Labour Party was going to be like the alternative. Like, this was going to be the party in government, and that this was going to be a good party to sort of have. You can say, good policies. Again, I've said it before. I think his domestic policy was very good. Foreign policy, not so very much. I do worry about what I would have had to say on Jeremy Corbyn should he have actually won in 2019, especially in and around, of course, Ukraine. So there are some worrying implications. We've talked about this before, but the fact that this is a very, very good victory, very, very good victory, speaks volumes, speaks massive volumes. And the fact that you've overturned these majorities over very big substantial majorities, like I say, 18,000, that's not nothing. That is not nothing to overturn. It took substantial work to do that, and they have now shown, yes, we can overturn that. And now we talk about the consequences of this, because this is consequence alley. You know, if you've lost 2 by-elections, well, put it this way, you've only won 1 by-election since 2019. Well, 2 by-elections since 2019. That's not very good. It's not very good. And going into a potential general election, which now asks the question, when is this going to be? When are we going to have a general election? I've said before, November's out the window. So that means I don't think you're going to have it in October either. I think now you are probably going to see the window probably open from anywhere between April, maybe June, July. That's particularly, I think, maybe the window where we could see one now. And bear in mind, because of this, calls for a general election are going to grow louder. Those voices which have been calling to get rid of Sunak are going to grow louder. Rishi Sunak, already a very weak prime minister, as we've said, he's got one threat in his back pocket, is to call a general election. And to be honest, he's got to go through and follow it. So there is, I think, at this point in time, almost a certainty now of when the next general election is going to be. I think it will probably fall within that window. As I've said, wouldn't surprise me if it did. Would not surprise me if it did. But yeah, it's good night, Irene, I think, at this point. But also, as we said, we've got to look at what this means for Jacob Rees-Mogg, because as we've said, Kingswood does not exist at the next general election. Because of the boundary changes, those get absorbed into Jacob Rees-Mogg's seat. And remember, that was a Labour victory. That now changes the electoral calculus for his seat. His seat goes from a safe seat to now being very, very much so in play. Very, very much so in play. So if you want to get rid of Jacob Rees-Mogg and you are in of what used to be Kingswood, or you're in his seat, well, now it's just become a lot more easier to get rid of him. So hopefully one of the people we can say goodbye to at the next general election, because oh my word, talk about the dream list of people you want to get rid of. Tory MPs, it's Jacob Rees-Mogg, and he's certainly at the top there. So you are going to see, certainly into this weekend, probably into this and into next week, calls for Rishi Sunak to either go to change leader, or Rishi Sunak will just go, right, okay, we'll just call a general election. It depends what happens first, really, I suppose. Depends what really happens first. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yeah, big implications, of course, again for Jacob Rees-Mogg. Very much so. Like I say, would love to sort of wave goodbye to him at the next general election, because it would be fantastic just to see him out. That would be most a brilliant night, I think, if that happens. And there's a great other many Conservative MPs that I think are going to be very, very joyful if they lose their seat. Shall we say, on a general election night. So yeah, everything to play for now. Things have now changed, as we said, in that seat for Jacob Rees-Mogg. We now have to go and now wait, and once again, wait for the next general election. And the big question is when? And the only person who can know that is Rishi Sunak, who is now going to come under immense pressure to either A, leave, and change leader, or he calls a general election. So we'll see what happens, but who knows? Maybe things could happen a lot quicker than we think. This is the thing in politics, that sometimes things and momentums can move very, very quickly. So we'll see what happens on that front. But yeah, good week. Week with a really good ending, to be honest. So hey, there we go. So as always, we'll see you all next time.